On April 3, 1883, Friedrich Nietzsche penned some of the most profound words ever written. Words that pierce the veil of the human condition with unflinching clarity. To live is to suffer. To suffer is to find some meaning in the suffering. Life, as Nietzsche saw it, is inseparable from pain, a relentless tide that washes over us from the moment we draw our first breath. Yet, he did not leave us stranded in despair. Within the crucible of suffering, he glimpsed an opportunity, a shimmering path toward meaning and growth. Suffering is not merely an obstacle to endure. It is the raw material from which we craft our deepest selves. We are born into a world of challenges, wrestling with loss, disappointment, illness, rejection, and failure. Loved ones slip through our fingers, dreams shatter, and hearts ache. Nietzsche recognized this truth and refused to cloak it in comforting illusions. Happiness, he argued, is not our natural state. Rather, suffering is the forge where our character is hammered into shape, where the essence of who we are is revealed and refined. What if the pain you feel today is the key to unlocking your truest freedom? Imagine a world where every tear shed and every burden carried becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your soul. Nietzsche invites us to see life not as a pursuit of fleeting joys, but as a daring confrontation with its inevitable sorrows. Inspired by the ancient Greeks, whose tragedies sang of heroism born from struggle, he saw suffering as the birthplace of our greatest achievements. Like the dramatists of Athens and the flux embracing Heraclitus, Nietzsche understood that to live fully is to dance with the shadows. This is not a philosophy of defeat, but a call to rise, to wrestle meaning from the jaws of anguish, and to emerge stronger, more alive, more human. Welcome to a journey through the fire of existence, where suffering becomes the teacher and freedom the reward. Nietzsche's words ripple through time, striking chords with thinkers across centuries. He looked upon life's unrelenting hardships and saw not a curse, but a canvas. To live is to suffer, yes, but to suffer well is to weave purpose from chaos. We cannot escape the sting of loss, the weight of failure, or the quiet ache of unfulfilled dreams. From the cradle, we are thrust into a world that tests us, a relentless storm of trials that shape our spirits. A child loses a parent, a dreamer faces rejection, a soul battles sickness. These are the threads of the human tapestry, woven with tears and resilience. Nietzsche refused to flinch from this reality. He turned away from the saccharine promise of endless happiness, a mirage peddled by those too timid to face the truth. Instead, he plunged into the heart of suffering, declaring it the crucible where character is forged. Pain is not an enemy to be vanquished. It is a teacher, stern and unyielding, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves. The Greeks, whose wisdom Nietzsche so admired, knew this dance well. They did not shy from tragedy, they celebrated it. In their plays, heroes clashed with fate, their triumphs rising from the ashes of despair. Heraclitus spoke of change as the only constant, a river of strife that carves the world anew. The Athenians watched Oedipus blind himself, Antigone defy kings, and Achilles rage against mortality, not to mourn, but to marvel at the human spirit's capacity to endure. Nietzsche saw in this a mirror of our own lives. Our greatest creations, our most profound moments of growth, sprout from the soil of struggle. A poet writes her finest verse after heartbreak, a warrior finds courage amid defeat, a parent discovers strength in grief. Suffering is the anvil, and we are the steel, shaped by each blow into something enduring, something beautiful. But Nietzsche's vision stretches beyond endurance. He challenges us to wield our pain as a tool, to transform it into meaning. Perspective becomes our alchemy. When sorrow strikes, we stand at a crossroads. Do we crumble beneath its weight? Or do we search the rubble for purpose? Viktor Frankl, a man who walked through the hell of concentration camps, carried Nietzsche's torch into the 20th century. Amid unimaginable horrors, he observed that those who clung to meaning, a reason to press forward, were the ones who survived. A father endured for his lost child's memory, a prisoner for a dream of reunion, each found a spark in the darkness. Frankl's insight, rooted in Nietzschean soil, reveals a profound truth. Even in our bleakest hours, we hold the power to craft purpose. Suffering does not merely break us, it invites us to build. This power of perspective is no small thing. It is the quiet rebellion against despair, the refusal to let pain dictate our story. When we lose a job, we can wallow in bitterness, or we can seek the lesson hidden within. When illness confines us, we can curse our fate, or we can uncover resilience we never knew we had. Nietzsche's philosophy is not a passive surrender to suffering. It is an active engagement, a daring leap into its depths to retrieve something precious. And in this act we find not just survival, but connection. Suffering is the silent thread stitching humanity together. When we ache, we glimpse the pain of others, a mother mourning her son, a stranger nursing a broken heart. Empathy blooms from these shared wounds, a fragile yet fierce bond that reminds us we are not alone. To embrace Nietzsche's view is no easy task. To declare that life is suffering can feel like staring into an abyss. Yet his message is not one of gloom, but of defiance. He does not ask us to revel in pain, but to rise above it. Imagine a climber scaling a jagged peak, each step a battle against wind and stone. The summit is not the absence of struggle, but the triumph over it. So too with life. By facing our suffering head-on, by seeking meaning within it, we forge a strength that no joy alone could grant. We become more than survivors, we become creators of our own freedom. Nietzsche's words are a lantern in the storm, urging us to see suffering not as a shackle, but as a key to unlocking the vast, untamed potential within us all. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. To live as Nietzsche urges is to walk a path strewn with thorns, to look upon the raw face of existence and smile. Yet in that smile lies a power older than the stars, a resilience woven into the fabric of our being. The Stoics, too, knew this truth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote of accepting what we cannot change, of finding peace amid chaos. Epictetus taught that our freedom lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering our response to it. Nietzsche takes this further, not merely accepting suffering, but alchemizing it into growth. Where the Stoics built walls of calm, Nietzsche lights a fire of transformation. Together, they whisper a timeless truth: we are not victims of life's storms, but sculptors of its meaning. Consider the lives we lead, the quiet battles we fight each day. A student fails an exam and doubts her worth, yet in that doubt she learns perseverance. A man loses his home to floodwaters, but in rebuilding he discovers community. A woman watches her youth fade, yet in the mirror of time she finds wisdom. These are not mere accidents of fate, they are invitations to become more. Nietzsche's philosophy is a mirror held up to our struggles, reflecting not just pain, but possibility. To suffer is human, but to find meaning in suffering is divine. It is the spark that turns ash into arc, the courage that turns wounds into wings. And in this act of creation, we touch the eternal, the boundless freedom that lies beyond good and evil, beyond despair and delight. Suffering, then, is not a thief in the night, stealing our peace. It is a companion, walking beside us, whispering questions we dare not ignore. Why are you here? What will you make of this? Nietzsche bids us answer not with words, but with our lives. Every tear, every scar, becomes a chapter in a story only we can write. And as we write, we connect, not just to ourselves, but to all who have suffered before us, to all who suffer now. The mother who buried her child, the soldier who lost his way, the artist who bled onto the canvas, their pain echoes ours and ours theirs. This is the heartbeat of humanity, pulsing through time, binding us in a tapestry of resilience and hope. Yet how do we begin? How do we take this abstract flame and carry it into the mundane? It starts with a single choice, a moment of courage. When the world breaks us, we pause. We breathe. We ask, what can this teach me? A broken heart might teach us to love more fiercely. A failure might teach us to try again. Nietzsche does not promise ease, he promises power, the power to shape our suffering into something greater. And in that shaping, we find freedom, not the shallow freedom of comfort, but the true freedom of a soul forged in fire. This is the gift of his philosophy, a gift trapped in struggle, unwrapped by will. The echoes of Nietzsche's thought resound in every corner of human experience. Consider the scientist who fails 1,000 times before the bulb glows, the poet who pens her truth through sleepless nights, the survivor who rises from the ashes of war. Each bears witness to the same truth: suffering is the soil of greatness. Frankl saw it in the camps, the Stoics saw it in their meditations, the Greeks saw it in their tragedies. And Nietzsche saw it in the raw pulse of life itself. To live is to suffer, but to suffer with purpose is to live beyond the ordinary, to touch the extraordinary. This is not a call to seek pain, but to embrace it when it comes, to wrestle with it until it yields its secrets. And what of joy? Does Nietzsche cast it aside? Not so. Joy is the flower that blooms from the roots of struggle, all the sweeter for the soil it grows in. A laugh shared after tears, a sunrise glimpsed after a storm. These are not separate from suffering, but born of it. Nietzsche's world is not bleak, it is vibrant, alive with the tension of opposites. To know joy, we must know pain. To know freedom, we must know chains. This is the dance of existence, a rhythm we all learn to sway to, step by aching step. And as we dance, we grow, not into perfect beings, but into real ones, flawed and fierce and free. This philosophy is a bridge between the ancient and the modern, a thread connecting Heraclitus to Frankl, Marcus Aurelius to you. It asks us to look at our lives, not with fear but with wonder. What story are you telling? What meaning are you forging? The lover betrayed, the dreamer denied, the weary soul seeking rest, each carries a spark of the eternal. Nietzsche's words are a clarion call to fan that spark into flame, to let it light our way through the dark. Suffering is not the end. It is the beginning, the raw material of a life well lived, a freedom hard won. Imagine, then, a world where we no longer flee from pain, but face it. A world where every loss is a lesson, every wound a window. This is Nietzsche's gift to us, a lens through which to see not just survival, but transcendence. The child who falls and rises again, the artist who paints through grief, the elder who smiles through years of toil, they embody this truth. To live is to suffer, yes, but to suffer well is to claim a freedom no tyrant can touch, no storm can round. It is the freedom to be, fully and fearlessly, in a world that demands nothing less. And so, we return to Nietzsche's words, written on that April day in 1883, words that burn with a quiet ferocity. To live is to suffer is to find some meaning in the suffering. They are not a lament, but a challenge, a dare to look into the abyss and see not just darkness, but stars. Stars we can reach for, stars we can become. This is the heart of true freedom, not an escape from life's trials, but a triumph within them. And as we walk this path, we do not walk alone. The countless souls who have suffered and risen, who have found meaning in the chaos, walk with us, their stories a chorus of courage. Here at the journey's end, we stand on ground made sacred by struggle. Nietzsche's vision, channeled through true freedom, reveals a timeless truth. Suffering is not our enemy, but our teacher, guiding us toward a life of meaning and resilience. This is not a tale of despair, but of empowerment, a reminder that within every pain lies the seed of something greater. You, the seeker of wisdom, hold the power to transform your trials into triumphs, to forge freedom from the fires of life. Let this be your spark. Subscribe to join us on this quest, like the video to fuel the flame, share it to light another's way, and comment with your thoughts, your stories, your dreams for what comes next. Together, we'll explore the depths of existence, crafting content that lifts us all higher. What meaning will you find today?